The young, virgin loser who didn't get into a relationship because of magic discovers that there is no hope for him on Earth. Upon uncertain death, the man reincarnates into another world in the body of Shion, an ordinary son of low nobility. Growing up, Shion is devastated to discover that he won't be like those other Isekai protagonists, because there's literally not a shred of magic existing on this foreign planet. Feeling lost and confused, Shion's sister takes him to a lake, where only she can see beams of light at night. This gives our protagonist the hope that magic might exist in this world, and he's going to be the first one to harness its powers. The young man celebrates his 30th birthday, standing on top of a magic circle. He was obsessed with magic, to the point he abstained from his romantic life. When he finally thought he was about to use Sasuke's fireball jutsu, nothing happened. Not a single incantation worked, despite how goofy it sounded. Having expired just about all of his options, the man realized that everything he worked for failed. It really was true in the end that there was no such thing as magic. Instead, this world was boring, as people worked themselves to death. The young man is devastated that he'll have to resume his boring life from tomorrow, or that is what he thought would happen. A raging chest palpitation hampers his body. The young man collapses to his death. Opening his eyes again, he is greeted by a lady, questioning if she's the one who called an ambulance for him. Instead, he realizes that he is now trapped inside the body of a little baby. The man had already died from the heart attack, and thought that he reincarnated with a second chance from birth. The scheming little baby wondered what came after reincarnation to begin with. He observed the interior of the room, finding it to be antique. He was beginning to think it was some kind of farmland in another world. Even though he literally died and reincarnated, he's obsessed with the thought of magic finally existing in this brand new world. Usually people are afraid of the challenges they'll have to face, but he's more excited than ever. This made him very happy, up until the boy discovered he also had an older sister. He doesn't trust her because she seems like the type to drop him carelessly. His mother tries to reason with her daughter, but her stubborn side comes through when she cries. Marie's mother tells her that she can play with him when he grows up. She persuades her daughter by telling her that everyone has the responsibility to protect the little baby. This makes Marie very happy because she wants to happily fulfill her role as an endearing older sister. Meanwhile, the little guy that's getting poked around wants to grow up soon. After 2 years, he is able to do much more with his fragile body. The first word he ever spoke was actually rice, because these farmers love their bread. At the age of 3, he played near the house and became sad that he couldn't use magic. The boy thought that he'll be able to deploy magic when he grows up. He picks his first overpowered opponent, which is a tree. The boy thinks that it would be terrible if he used an overpowered fireball magic, as it would burn the surroundings. Deciding to go for something lame, he unleashes his devastating wind cutter move, which is really just a sorry excuse for him doing a silly pose that does nothing. He stands appalled when his sister Marie pops up from behind asking what he's doing. The boy loses his mind, but he's glad that it wasn't an adult who saw him do something so silly. Marie wants to play with Shion, who wonders if he'll get to study magic when he grows older. Marie has a fondness for running at her age. She's quite the simple girl, who basically runs circles around the exhausted Shion. Marie greets her father and welcomes her home. Shion follows suit and praises her sister for being more focused. Shion is enthusiastic to learn many things because he's gotten to the age he can do things for himself. Shion wants to explore the world of magic by asking questions from around. At their dinner, Shion asks his father about his profession to learn more about the world. His father shares that they're lower-class nobility people. Shion understands what he means immediately. Shion asks where he ventures on his carriage, but his father gives him very boring answers. He's like, "Stop the yapping and tell me about magic." Shion tries again and asks if there are demons from around the area. His father confirms and even warns Shion never to leave the nearby areas. This gives him confidence, because if demons exist, so does magic. Shion pops out in happiness, but his father is just stunned by the word. Shion's reality crumbles to a million pieces when his father reveals that nothing like magic exists in their world. In fact, he's never even heard of such a word before, despite being well educated. In his mind, Shion loses composure to the fact that his reincarnation world doesn't have magic at all. His father asks Shion about his knowledge of the word magic as well as demons. He grows worried for his son and questions if he heard these things from an adult. Shion is zoned out because he's still dazed by what he heard. His mother chimes in to cover for the boy, but his father is still confused how he knows about magic. They make an excuse that Shion dreamed of magic, and that's how he knew. Shion's face grows pale, and he's lost all appetite. At this point in time, Shion questions his true purpose in being brought into this world. For the 3 years that followed this event, Shion hammered every bit of knowledge he could gather about this world. He taught himself how to read and write. He learned a great deal of things from his family as well, since they shared a history of nobility. Shion did everything in his ability to learn what he could about this world. From all his investigations, Shion came to a pessimistic conclusion. There truly wasn't any magic in this world. The boy looked to the skies, having already lost every bit of motivation. Just when he thought that he could achieve what wasn't possible in the real world, Shion's dream was brutally crushed by reality. Marie, Shion's sister, praises Shion's running ability since he's gotten faster than her. Marie wants to keep up with him, so she trains as much as she can. Marie never stopped running outside ever since she turned 3. Shion thinks that the girl could have become an athlete, except something like that didn't really exist in this world. Sharing another dinner with his family, Shion sulked while eating his meals. His father tried to lighten up the mood by sparking conversation. He asked about Marie and Shion's studies. Shion gave no answer and instead wore a sad expression. His mother talked to him, stating how he's exceeded the level of middle school students at his age, classifying him as an actual genius. Shion didn't really feel affected, and even though he thought of them as a great family, Shion didn't feel at home. He knows that they're trying to motivate him and that he's powerless to do anything else but waste away time. Despite having lived 30 years in his original life, Shion considers himself childish with how he behaves. Shion thinks that the only way to move forward is for him to accept the reality that there is no magic in this world. My guy literally died and still took an L in his reincarnation. I truly feel sad for him. One day, Marie finishes up her run. Shion asks her what she likes about running so much. Marie thinks for a moment and tells Shion that it's because she's his sister. Shion is confused by this answer, but Marie states that she trains for the possible what-if situation that could happen. Marie tells him that she'll protect her little brother, and even though she's average at academics, she's great when it comes to physicality. Shion realizes that her sister has been training this entire time for his sake, while he's been selfish enough to think for himself. Marie takes Shion to a location she's been meaning to share with him. Arriving at the beautiful yet serene view, Marie tells him that they should stay until the night to see what they're here for. Marie shows Shion the beautiful sparks of light that appear just before the night. She doesn't know what they are. Shion asks if the others know. Marie explains that she never brought them here because they didn't find it mysterious. Shion questions if adults are incapable of seeing the light. Marie tells him what they're seeing resembles magic, even though she has little understanding of what it is. Shion is shocked that his sister remembered his ramblings. The caring and considerate sister moves Shion's heart. He weeps, apologizing to Marie as she holds him in her arms. The cute siblings head home. Shion's mood has gotten a lot better with Marie's influence. The following day, Marie's mother is shocked that they are as energetic as ever. Shion heads out with his sister, regaining some of the lost hope and thinking that there may still be a chance. They arrive at the same location where they found the sparkling balls of light. Marie scolds Shion for getting out of shape and neglecting his exercise. Shion wants to test where the balls of light are emerging from. Marie thinks that they are originating from the lake, but Shion has reason to believe that there are creatures producing it inside of the lake. Shion wants them to gather water from the lake and store it in 3 tubs and cover them with stones, plants, and a fish for testing. They prepare a fishing rod, and Shion collects the plants from the lake. Marie is having a hard time fishing. Shion laughs because he is happy that he gets to spend time with his sister. Marie questions what has gotten over him and clings to the hope that there will be magic. She catches a fish and pulls it out. Shion wonders if it is a regular fish, and Marie confirms that it's just a kind of trout found everywhere. This is enough to explain that the fish are not responsible for making the balls of light appear. The phenomenon occurs daily, and its cause is still a mystery to the 2 siblings. Marie reports that the fish tub isn't lighting up at all. Shion prioritizes making it the exact same as a lake. He asks if there are other animals. Marie claims that they exist, but catching them would be a hassle. Shion thinks he's got no choice but to go all commando on this mission. Marie is against the decision at first, but agrees to go with him. She doesn't want her little brother to risk his life alone. The 2 of them decide to go together. They stand on top of the lake, where the beautiful beams of light rise up to the skies. Shion touches one and thinks that it's warm. The question is what is happening underneath the water. Shion and Marie plunge their heads inside to take a closer look. They find that the balls of light are emerging from different spots. Shion has confirmed that they're not coming from plants, which is why he's now certain that this is the work of a creature. Marie doesn't know how he was able to come up with that. Shion tells her that it's because the position keeps altering based on the creature's movements. After their investigations, Marie and Shion return home. On their way, Shion thanks his big sister for helping him out so much. Marie is flustered because he keeps saying thank you. The following day, they repeat the same activity. Shion has found himself actually having fun while trying to discover magic. It's the fact that Marie is around with him that he's been able to enjoy himself so much. Unfortunately, Marie is incapable of catching a fish today. They turn around to spot a girl who knows Marie. Rose introduces herself as a self-absorbed girl, making Shion think that she is some kind of noble. Marie asks if Rose came here to witness the same phenomenon. Rose confirms, which makes Marie excited because they've found a third person capable of seeing the beams of light, even though the other village kids couldn't see anything. Shion jumps and asks her a million questions. Rose tells him that she doesn't know anything special. She's interested in the investigation and wants to explore with them. Shion thinks that they'll gain some help from her. He easily persuades Marie. The three of them form a group together, united with the same purpose. Later, Marie fishes a female trout, the first time she has ever caught one. Since the females exist in the deeper parts of the lake, it can be difficult to get a hold of them. Shion thinks that they should capture another male trout because he's got an idea. Marie accomplishes the task easily. After putting the two fishes in the same tub, nothing really happens. That is until the same balls of light begin emerging from the tub. All three of them grow excited that they resolve the mystery. Shion's theory was correct. He explains that courting rituals are the requirement. Marie blows the horn by tagging Shion in her example with how little knowledge she has about courting. Shion reminds the girl that they're not getting married because that would be impossible for the siblings. Marie takes this as an attack and thinks that Shion doesn't love her anymore. Shion has to remind his idiot sibling that siblings can't marry each other. His choice of words became a huge problem later because Marie took great offense to them. Shion tells Rose that she hasn't talked to him since. Rose is optimistic about their future and thinks that they'll be back together like nothing happened. More importantly, she wants to know about the mysteries surrounding the trout. Shion explains that there hasn't been anything new from their experiments. However, according to their previous investigations, Shion used his parents to touch the ball of light, only to confirm that they couldn't see or feel them at all. Following the theory that this ball of light represents magic, which is used as communication between the trout, Shion has come up with a hypothesis. Since they've been able to recognize the balls of light, Shion thinks they can harness its magical power. However, it's still too early, and Shion doesn't know how they're going to use it. Rose comes to the conclusion that they have to do courting rituals of their own to discover something new. Shion agrees. Rose remarks that the boy has changed completely, and that he isn't just a child anymore. Rose channels 300 IQ and basically concludes that she's talking to an adult right now. Shion is caught off guard by her words. Rose returns to the topic of courtship and offers to become his partner for the experiment. Shion is baffled. Little guy is getting the bitches he missed in his previous life, but he's forgetting that the Isekai feds will chase him down. Rose claims that it would be fine if they did a ritual together since it would be impossible for Shion to do that with Marie. Shion reflects that it's exactly how she says. Shion requests Rose for a favor, but his heart is racing incredibly fast. He knows that there is no other way past this one, and that he has to do anything for magic. Rose sees a man approaching them, and believes they should continue the conversation another time. Shion questions if the man is her father, as Rose left immediately. Shion wonders if Rose was also embarrassed to put on such a brave face in front of him. Then comes Marie, who tells him that her mother got mad at her when she told her she would marry Shion. Shion is shocked that Marie was serious up to that point. Marie is sad that she can't be with her brother. Shion tells her that he wants the same for them. Marie thinks that it wouldn't be right for Shion to be married to someone else, since they will be separated. Shion senses her sadness and clasps onto her hand. Shion tells her he will never get married and never leave Marie's side, which is quite the commitment for a sister. Marie thinks that it will be problematic for their family if he does that. Shion insists that he's being serious about this, since he wants to spend a life with Marie. Marie still doesn't believe that it's as important as marriage. Hugging his sister, Shion confesses gratitude for her and the desire to do many dear things for his sister in return. His words move Marie's heart as she begins to cry, hugging him tightly. That's when something strange happens. Shion's entire body is engulfed in a beam of light as it begins to illuminate. Shion claims that it might be the magic power, but it quickly vanishes. Shion returns to the tub with Marie, explaining that the same magic balls are coming from the trout. Marie doesn't know how it's possible for them to be generated in such a way. Shion explains that the magic was released during the courting ritual between them, since Shion actually confessed he wouldn't marry someone else, which is quite the confession. Marie gets her face all red as she stands up and runs off. Shion stands there embarrassed, but he's glad to confirm the existence of magic power. It is at this moment the boy decided that even if magic didn't exist in his world, he would just make it on his own. That night, Shion was looking for the bathroom when he heard his father's voice from another room. He peeped during the conversation between his parents. Shion's father was discussing how Shion's thinking was quite advanced for his age, since he's literally not connected to them by blood. Shion is shocked to hear of such words, even though they consider him a precious piece of the family. Shion reflects that he was reincarnated in a boy's body differently from everyone else. He thought of his family. He didn't think anything of the conversation, and thinks that it will be best if he remained quiet about the matter. The next day, Marie is greeted with Shion's sincere confession again. However, the second he mutters that confession is when he also activates his magic power. Marie approaches him in the mood to kill because she's being treated like a guinea pig for his game. She thinks that Shion did the courting ritual to test his little theory as well. Shion clarifies that everything about that part was the truth, since that is how he truly felt. Marie forgives him instantly. Shion tells her that the confession releases magic power without limitation. Marie reacts awkwardly because he's about to pull up with another confession. Shion intellectualizes his feelings, thinking how emotions are a necessary trigger for releasing magic power. Shion believes that affection might be the only way to activate the magic at all. He calculates his options and focuses on the feelings of joy. Shion visualizes the power of heat and light, which then leads to his body illuminating. This confirms that emotions other than affection are capable of activating the magic power. Shion smiles the happiest he has ever been, while his sister cheers him on. Marie confesses that it's the first time he's ever felt so happy. Shion reflects that he has become capable of releasing the magic aura state and penned down his theories. Shion understood 5 things about magic power by then. The first is that strong emotions are crucial for exercising the use of magic. The second is that it can't be used forever, since using it more than 5 times could put him out of commission for the rest of the day. The third is that he'll level up his daily limit of using magic. It will increase every day. The fourth is that the aura state doesn't have any limitations, since humans are incapable of seeing or feeling the power. The fifth and final aspect is that even if he trained rigorously, he can't create the balls of light like the trout. Shion fixates on how increasing his amount of magic power might be the solution, since he doesn't have enough magic power like the trout. He laughs at the thought and wonders if it is some kind of joke, because right now, he's nothing more than a glowing human. Shion refuses to give up, and recalls that the glow being produced from the trout is produced by their heads. Shion wonders if the fix is to conjure magic in a specific spot, and release it all at once. He tries to maintain his emotions and channels the use of such power. Shion finds that if he splits his consciousness, he won't be able to produce the magic power he desires. However, if he concentrates his consciousness, rational thought is necessary. Shion corrects himself, and believes the order should be backwards. He tries to think that the magic power concentrated in his right hand will feel great and produce an emotion of happiness. That's what he thinks before he produces the glow in a specific part of his body. Shion's hand lights up in a glowing sensation as he tries to punch it around like the little goof that he is. Even though he has made development up to this point, Shion sulks thinking that it's just light without any powers. He's glad to have made a step in the right direction, and pens down his thoughts. For this experiment, he calls the effect the concentrated magic state. In the next scene, Rose trains in swordsmanship with Marie's father, who comments on her incredible reflexes. Marie is impressed, while Shion doesn't want to participate in this kind of battle at all. However, Shion's training session with the others has just begun, because Marie advised his father to teach them the basics of sword fighting. Shion reflects that he'll have to practice magic, even though he has questions about what will happen. He produces a ball of light no differently than the trout. Shion's father calls for him as they stand to face each other. Shion doesn't really want to participate in this battle, knowing how crappy his physical stats are. Shion's father hammers him with a swift attack, surprising him. Shion is barely capable of evading his strikes, as his father commands Shion to block with his sword. Shion finds it impossible and wants to run away. Marie tells him to utilize a counter-attack. When Shion tries to swing his sword, he realizes that he's not holding anything in his hand. The sword comes flying down, bonking his head as his father facepalms at the disappointment. Shion's father thinks that he's F-tier in fencing, since his dodging ability is the worst. Shion tells his father he doesn't have any talent for the craft, and shouldn't train because of that. Shion is insistent in his demands, stating that he's better at studying and should concentrate his efforts on doing that. His father doesn't fight him on the logic and thinks that it's fine, but he'll still be dragged to do physical training to say the least. Marie squares off with her father, who is eager to see just how good she is in battle. Marie shows a vicious glare, which makes her seem like a completely different person to Shion momentarily. Marie engages in her assault, attacking her father with full force. He barely blocks the blow. Marie garners a secondary attack followed by the first, which her father manages to avoid. Marie's incredible speed leads her to attacking her father's legs. She's about to win, when all he does is jump up high and defeat her in one move. Shion is impressed by his father's ability to use the minimum amount of movement necessary to defeat Marie. Marie's father is amazed that she possesses the ability to deceive the popping, and thinks that Marie will become quite the successful swordsman later on. Marie wants to work herself to the top and become stronger. Shion tries to exit his way out of the situation, but his father stops him. Shion runs off and returns to his room. It has been more than 6 months since his discovery of magic, but his progress is facing a major slump. Shion doesn't know what to do, beyond gathering magic in his hands and expelling it out of his body. As the moment the light forms out of his hand, it vanishes completely. Shion wonders if it has something to do with the magic concentration, since he's finding it difficult to imitate the trout's ability. On the flip side, Marie is hard at work, practicing her sword fighting skills. She's been training with her blade relentlessly for the dream of protecting their family. Knowing the sacrifice she's putting herself through every day, Shion wants to become a brother that deserves the fruit of her efforts. Shion vows to find something that will progress his magic development. The next day, he learns that his father is going to Istria. Shion wants to tag along and happily accepts his father's invitation. As they depart, Marie is also with him as the two of them wonder about the special place called Istria. Marie is glad that the weather isn't the worst, but what Shion is really worried about are the demons that venture out at night, and if their existence is real at all. Beyond them lies a beautiful city of Istria. Shion's family enter the great structure, amazed by everything they see around them. They visit the blacksmith who welcomes Gawain, Shion's father. Glass the blacksmith introduces himself to the polite children, as he is their father's friend. Gawain wants him to cook up a sword that is both sword and light for the children to use. Marie's face lights up when her father reveals that she has been doing training every day, which is why she deserves a present. Marie takes her tiny blade and thanks her father as well as the blacksmith who made the sword. Glass reveals that not many children are even capable of doing what Marie does, so for their father to share such a weapon with his child is certainly amazing. Glass advises her to keep her father's trust. With that finished, Shion is up next. Shion claims that he doesn't really have any ability in fencing, so he won't do well with a sword. Glass knows that children excel at different things, and tips Shion with a good piece of advice of his own. He quickly bonded with the children, up until the point Glass and Gawain started arguing with each other like animals. Exiting the shop, Shion congratulates Marie, who is sad that she is the only one who got a present out of the two. Shion tells her that it's her birthday, so she deserves it more. Marie wants to get him something, even if it is not expensive. Shion denies her mother too, because there isn't anything special he wants. They stop by a fairy shop, which is met with a hint of anger by their father, who tells them they should never go there. Shion remembers reading about fairies, who are supposed to be supernatural beings. It's just that some people make a boatload of money by selling them. Shion has caught on that kidnapping is a common occurrence. He apologizes for taking an interest and wants to go home at once. The carriage continued its advance down the street when he saw a child held in a cage. At that point, Shion had burned the memory of the humanoid into his head. On a rainy day, a man is looking to return to the village when he encounters an injured guy who crashes in front of him. Terrified as he is, he mutters that the goblins killed all of his friends and that they should alert the chief at once. The scene switches to Shion's daily magic practice. He crashes after exceeding his magic limit for 10 seconds. Shion is now a 7-year-old with some magic power, even though his research has stalled and stayed the same. He doesn't have any new information to obtain from the trout, and instead he has set his sights on mythical creatures like fairies. Shion reflects that such creatures didn't exist in the previous world, so they should definitely be related to magic in this one. Shion wants to get his hands on at least one of them for more research. Suddenly, he hears the muttering of a crowd coming from outside. Shion and Marie sneakily peep their conversation and realize a whole group of people is preparing for battle, including their father. Shion questions their mother about the matter, who tells the children about the existence of magical creatures. Shion is shocked by her words. Marie wants to protect him at home, while her father takes care of the monsters in the forest. Gawain instructs his wife to gather the weak from the village, as they will charge ahead to destroy the goblin's nest in one go. The report states that there are only 2 goblins, which should be easy enough for them to defeat. Shion feels stumped that a dozen men are needed to take down a single goblin. He asks his father if they're strong and intelligent. Gawain tells him that the goblins should be incapable of climbing up walls, since they're not too intelligent. Shion thinks they can shut everyone on the 2nd floor, guaranteeing their safety. He wants to block the doors with furniture to ensure the goblins don't break inside. Shion tells his father that they'll never leave the room until his return. His father heads off to fend for the goblin attack. Shion is in charge of handling the operations with the villagers. Rose follows his instructions to set up the furniture and actually shows a cool composure even in this situation. The rain is heavy and they've blocked all places that were at risk of invasion. Shion and the others are confident the goblins won't be able to enter from the 1st floor. They head to the 2nd floor, while Shion is reminiscing how reality never goes as planned, just like how he died in his original life. Finally, a small creature stands in front of the fences with its gnarly legs. The monster dons a sulking posture and makes sounds as it approaches them. The villagers begin whispering, because they are paranoid of the footsteps approaching them. Shion is actually scared for his life, knowing that someone is standing in front of their house and slowly drawing near. Marie prepares her blade to take care of the threat. Shion tells her to stay put because he knows the goblin shouldn't be capable of invading through the 1st floor. The sounds of horror engulf the room as the goblin whacks the structures below in an effort to barge inside. The sound finally stopped, which made Shion wonder if the goblin finally gave up. Suddenly, lightning struck at the worst possible moment as a tree fell on their house. The monster's screeching sound frightened the children as it tried to use the tree as a way to get inside. The footsteps continued to draw nearer up until eventually the monster slashed its way inside. What emerged from the shadows was a horrifying creature that you wouldn't want to appear in your nightmares. While the villagers are terrified, the goblin is cheerful as ever. It laughs knowing that it has located the weak humans that will prove useless against them. Shion thinks that they've got no chance anymore since none of them can stop it. Only one of them boasts a will of might beyond her fears. Marie is prepared to take down the goblin with her sword. However, the battle ended as soon as it began. The goblin easily defeated Marie and dragged her body. It was about to unleash a killing blow when Marie's mother stepped in, sacrificing her own life so that her daughter could survive. She asks if Marie's okay, as that is what she wanted. Marie whines with her mother's injured body resting on top of her. The goblin is approaching to kill them. Shion doesn't want to lose the only people he cares about. Fighting against his fear, he aimlessly jumps to grab the goblin's arm. Shion realized that there was absolutely nothing he could do against the monster until he noticed a light emitting from the goblin's body. The dots began to connect in his head, the trigger that he couldn't understand at the time. It's all having to connect now. The goblin tries to slash him away, but Shion is one step faster as he concentrates the magic power, realizing that magic power is capable of reacting to magic power as he takes down the goblin with a ferocious slam. Little guy out here channeling Sung Jin Woo energy with that massive takedown. The goblin's rotten body lays defeated on the floor. A burning effect is produced when magic power interacts with another magic power. This is the result of Shion's magic power, which has grown itself over the span of the year. Shion thinks that his abilities have become strikingly powerful. He stares at the villagers' reactions and realizes that they're terrified of him because he killed the monster in a single strike. Shion observes that the rest of them would have died if he didn't subdue the monster, but now it's almost like he is a monster instead. Rose is the first to approach the boy, thanking him for his efforts for saving them. The villagers are still afraid, but the worst part is their mother's critical condition. Shion stops Marie's reckless attempts to save her mother. He judges that they should help her. The villagers gather around, observing how much blood she is losing. Shion thinks that the condition will worsen if they don't take her to a bed. However, none of the villagers show any signs of calmness. Shion looks for others in an effort to gather villagers. He questions if there is a doctor among them. Since nobody is stepping up to the job, Shion has to take matters into his own hands. He asks for someone skilled in sewing. A girl shows herself waiting for his instructions. Shion guides her, while Rose handles Marie, who is afraid of losing her mother. Shion exclaims that she will actually die if Marie intervenes in this manner. Shion's forceful side is able to calm Marie to her senses. He assesses her injuries by taking a slice out of her fabric. Shion's mother faced 3 giant gashes. The wound seems terrible, but thankfully not as deep. Knowing that a goblin's nails aren't poisonous, her chances have increased. Shion initiates the procedure by telling the woman to sew shut the wound. Obviously, she has an appalling reaction to this information. Since the people aren't familiar with the concept of stitches and surgeries in this world, it's natural for them to show such a reaction. Shion tells her that if they are incapable of stopping the blood, then it will endanger her life. The woman doesn't want to scar the lady's body, but Shion tells her that it is the only way to save her life. After giving her a dilemma, Shion finds himself annoyed because they're wasting time worsening her condition. Marie begs for her to continue the treatment. The woman musters the resolve to follow his instructions. Shion is ready to take responsibility for anything that would happen. The treatment was quickly over until Gawain came back from the Goblin raid. They located the Goblin nest and defeated both of them. The problem was, the nest seemed too big for only 2 goblins, which is why they rushed to retreat. Thankfully, it only took 1 day for their mother to regain her consciousness. She had recovered to a substantial amount, and while the doctor examined her condition, Shion told his father everything that happened. Gawain questions if the boy is certain of what he is saying. Shion claims that he isn't lying, as the information matches with what the villagers said. Gawain is surprised to learn how the boy was able to help his mother. Shion didn't really have a good excuse and told him that he just knew about the sewing out on a whim. Gawain expresses trust in his children and asks about the magic power that they've been obsessing over at the lake. Gawain's main concern is Shion's ability to defeat a goblin on his own, when in reality, it takes numerous adults to do the job. A 7-year-old couldn't have done that. Gawain finds himself believing his son acts like an adult. He warns them not to spill a single word to the villagers, and that he is ready to cover for his children anytime they get in trouble. Shion questions if they'll be persecuted, which Gawain actually highlights that they will. It's probable that bad things will happen if word gets out. Shion's father hammers that the boy should stop investigating his magic research, deeming it to be too dangerous of a power. Shion grows depressed, while Marie lashes violently at her father for ignoring Shion's efforts. Gawain tells his daughter that it's dangerous, and that if they wait too long, it will turn even worse. The problem is, anything that could kill a magical creature so easily is deemed dangerous in their eyes. Shion tells his father that he has no plans to turn down his magic research. Gawain tries to warn his son, claiming that he doesn't understand, but Shion claims otherwise. Shion tells his father that he will forever be miserable if he refuses to do the one thing he loves. Gawain thinks that he's acting like a child who thinks for himself. Shion declares that he will never change, even if he grows up into an adult. Instead, he will no longer involve people. Marie is shocked by what he's saying, but she sees a firm expression on Shion's face. Gawain grows speechless before reminding his son of the dangers of the research, of how he will be despised by the others. Shion is prepared for everything to happen, even for being disowned by his own family. Gawain turns around and surprisingly grants him permission to continue his magic research, but he wants Shion to report the results to his father so that he could stop him before anything happens. Shion is shocked that his father is letting him do what he wants so easily. The truth is, Gawain is impressed by his child's dedication to continue doing what he wants, despite all odds. Gawain claims that he is truly proud of his son who has discovered his path from an early age. Hearing those words, Shion weeps as he gains support from his loving father. The doctor finishes the examination and reports that Marie's mother is alive and well, since the wound didn't reach her bones or vital organs. Marie apologizes to her mother because she jumped in to save her. Marie's mother consoles her daughter, thanking her for buying time for the others. Marie is told that she did nothing wrong, and instead showed courage in face of defeat. Marie crumbles in a cute way and cries. Marie's mother asks if the others are all safe and soon drifts off to sleep. Gawain shuts the door to let her rest, while Shion sees Marie's frowning expression as she stares down at her blade. The following day, Shion tries to show his father the magic power illuminating from his body. However, Gawain is incapable of seeing anything at all. Shion states that he won't be able to see anything they do like how Marie does. In fact, she's even capable of feeling the warmth of the magic aura. Marie wonders if her brother is going to end up transforming into a goblin at this rate. Shion claims that it won't happen, because a goblin is a special case situation. Gawain is even more interested now, and doesn't really doubt his children, despite the fact that he can't see the powers for himself. Shion thinks that his father really dotes on his children. Gawain looks more interested than ever and asks about Shion's discoveries. Gawain lights a fire, excited to do experiments with the children. Shion tells them to get back, and channels his magic concentration abilities. He then hovers his hand over the heat, and ends up burning the heck out of his hand trying to look cool. Gawain throws a bucket of water at the boy, and questions why he was doing something so stupid. Marie is surprised, because the fire actually turned blue with his tampering. Shion explains that he wanted to see if it were only the magic creatures that responded to magic power. He tried to use a natural phenomenon as his experiment, and learned that other things responded to his magic. Gawain believes the boy, since he saw the blue flames with his own 2 eyes. Marie is left out, while Shion and Gawain are bonding with each other. Shion observes that the magic didn't generate out of nothingness, rather the fire lit up because of his concentration. The love-struck fireball enthusiast is ready for the days he'll start shooting fireballs at other people. The following day, the idiot burns his hand to ashes. Gawain helps him out by throwing water on the boy. Rose is speechless seeing them goof around like this. She questions if Shion is really capable of using fire magic now. Shion explains that he'll demonstrate the ability when his father returns, since he has to do everything under his supervision. Rose is surprised to learn that Marie's not around to accompany them. Shion explains that Marie's training her sword ability all by herself. Rose realizes that it is because of the incident that occurred 2 days ago. Even though Shion feels pity for her, Rose thinks otherwise. She believes that Marie is motivated to train the hardest so that she could save him no matter what. After a month of experiments, Shion's investigations have led to new discoveries. Despite his discoveries, his fire research is far from practical for being used on a daily basis. Gawain discusses that his experiments have been meaningful so far, but they've gotten themselves stuck. Shion wants to become capable of shooting fire magic. Rose points to the fact that the balls of light are also filled with magic power, so what he's doing is the same in principle. Shion confirms, but he still isn't able to master the ability. Rose casually whips up the beam of light and hovers it over her finger. Shion is shocked that she is even capable of doing something he can't. Rose explains that Marie might be capable of doing it as well. Shion has found proof that anyone can harness the ability of magic, meaning he has great chances to do the same. Shion requests Rose to use the same ability again. Rose tells him that it requires a delicate touch before concentration can take place. Gawain, on the other hand, literally cannot see anything occurring before his eyes. Shion follows her instructions and becomes capable of producing the ball of light. Rose is impressed by his ability to catch on so soon. Shion explains that he controlled the amount of power used to produce the effect. Continuing their magic research, Shion conducts the same experiment they've been doing for the past month. He unleashes the ball of light, which takes the form of fire at last. Shion proceeds to produce electric magic as well. He's made 2 discoveries at the cost of his delirious state. Shion is drunk on his powers, because although there weren't any signs of magic in this world, he is the one who discovered and created magic. Even though it's not the magic he has always dreamed about, it's still something worth it, for the 30 years he waited in his life. Personally, I wouldn't say that lol. The self-aware protagonist thanks his reincarnation journey for allowing him such an experience. The children meet their mother, who has recovered from her wounds. She reveals that Gawain told her everything about the magic power, and she supports Shion's desires. Shion feels at ease with his family, growing his relationship. However, Marie is exerting herself ruthlessly even beyond her limitations. She doesn't want to waste even a second of training to become stronger. The poor boy sees his sister trying so hard to progress in her training. Ever since the incident of the Goblin, Marie changed forever. She has become obsessed with the ways of the sword. Shion tries to remove her from the training, only to receive a determined glare he has never seen before. Marie feels sad and accepts discontinuing her training because of his request. Sitting by the fireside, Shion wonders if Marie hates herself. Shion notes that he's also changed because he shares the desire to protect his family from demons. He wants to utilize magic for the good of his family. Gawain thanks his son and finds magic to be rather convenient. Shion is the only one capable of using magic flare. He is capable of shooting fire whenever he wants. However, Shion wants to be able to do it with only his hands someday. My guy just wants to become Heat Blast or the Human Torch, and the world isn't letting him have it. Even though he has made so much progress, Shion's goals grow bigger in sight. He wants to use a kind of grand magic ability. Shion decides to stop the research on his magic flare for the time being, looking to adopt a different approach instead. Shion asks his father if there are any animals or objects in the world capable of producing electricity. Gawain is baffled as he asks his son what electricity even means. There is a reason Shion chose electricity as his next subject of study, as the magical attributes are usually elemental, with light and dark being significantly more difficult. The other elements don't exactly bring forth the best results, leaving only lightning out of the group. Gawain states that Glass knows something about an object that produces weak lightning. Shion suggests they go to Istria at once, and his father entertains the thought. They use his fast horse to easily traverse the distance, leaving out his mother and Marie. Shion is concerned with Marie's constant practice of the sword. He notes how she's only kept a serious expression on her face for a long time, and doesn't talk to anyone. Arriving in Istria, the blacksmith tells them about the thunder ore. Gawain is curious if the ore is capable of being held by the human hand. Blast offers his concerns because although it isn't a rare material, the thunder makes it incredibly difficult to transport. The constant production of lightning can be harmful, making it impossible to touch. The spot was used as a tourist attraction once, but the mine was inevitably closed due to its risks. Shion reflects that the ore plays the role of a generator, and if his home planet had such thunder ores, they would have progressed massively. Shion asks Glast if there is a tree capable of producing white sticky juice. Glast hasn't heard of anything similar. The boy asks if he knows anything about the material mica, which is a mineral with insulating properties. Although the blacksmith is unaware of mica, he has seen something with similar properties. Glast whips up a pell ore, which is a stone of interesting shape. The stone seems ornamental to the average eye. Shion inspects the stone, while Gawain and Glast wonder what the child is doing. Gawain assures the blacksmith that his son thinks differently from all other children. Shion asks the blacksmith if there is a bigger piece of the same ore. However, it's quite pricey, so it's going to be hard to buy. Shockingly, Gawain is ready to throw in the money, despite the expense. Gawain wants to offer him this gift since the boy has never once made a demand before. I bet the boy's loving father reminds you guys of your own, who left for milk and never came back. Shion reveals that the ore is an insulator, which is why he wants to use its powers to transport the thunder ores. Testing out his theory is all that's left, but his father is inquisitive and questions how the boy is aware of such information. The 7-year-old boy has knowledge beyond the scope of anyone, which is why suspicion is quick to arise. In fact, Shion thinks he's a creepy little child around adults, though he is glad to be a son of a loving father who cares for his children. Arriving at the closed mine, Glast warns them not to draw close to the thunderous ores. The blacksmith questions if the boy will touch the thunder ore with a pell ore and block out its properties. Shion peels a part of the stone and uses it to capture one of the thunder ores. A scared Gawain pulls the boy away, only to discover that he is completely fine. Shion apologizes for giving his father a scare. Glast tries it for himself and discovers that he can hold the thunder ore without feeling any of the effects. Now that they have confirmed the pell ore is a great insulator, Shion thinks that he might have done something wrong. Even though Glast is to be trusted, the blacksmith is capable of turning down his demands. Since the pell ore was too heavy to be carried around, they left it off with Glast. The blacksmith even paid half the expenses, being the good-hearted man he is. As for Shion, he's brought himself a thunder ore that he could experiment at will. The boy channels his magic concentration and tries to harness the power of electricity. The ball of light interacts with the stone, but nothing really happens in the end. Gawain encourages his son that failure is part of the process. However, Shion is all giddy up as if something really happened. Gawain shakes his son, questioning if something happened. The boy is delighted to reveal that the process was a success. He managed to produce the sparks like a discharge current. Shion had two hypotheses surrounding his magic. The first is that it is combustible without any properties, and the second is that it can alter its characteristics based on conditions. Believing that it is a combustible substance, Shion concluded that any contact with the lightning ore would cause it to burn. That didn't happen, and instead, it began to illuminate a unique color. This helped Shion confirm that magic is capable of bearing more properties than just burning. Gawain questions if he can use lightning magic now, to which Shion denies at his current level. Although he wants to become Zeus by throwing around thunderous waves, Shion is experiencing the same plateau as he did with his fire magic. A month passed ever since he brought home the lightning ore. The winters are approaching, and Shion is already counted as a labor force to help store food. Marie is diligent and hard at work, rigorously training her sword ability. Shion thinks that their parents are waiting for Marie to ask for help, like how they treated him. Shion doesn't want to leave his sister alone, and decides to go out even at the risk of her getting angry. Shion approaches his sister, remembering the treatment she gave him when he was worried. Shion sees Marie hard at her training. He remembers Marie cheering him up each time he studied magic development. Marie's exhausted every part of her body doing painful workouts, to the point it has become difficult to watch her go. Shion expresses his desire to support Marie in any situation. He sees the little girl stumbling over her steps and falling down. Marie stops him from helping her because she doesn't want his help. Even though Shion wants to be on Marie's side and prevent her from hurting herself, she pushes him away. Shion remembers that he told Marie to stop exercising. He apologizes for saying such a thing and ignoring her feelings without support. The truth is, the little girl supported her brother when he learned magic, while he wanted her to stop. Marie tells him not to feel guilty about anything he did. Marie confirms that she is actually jealous of her little brother. She is his older sister with the role of protecting Shion, which is why she started fencing in the first place. She was certain she could ward off threats with her powers. However, when she failed to protect him, Marie felt scared and ended up getting their mother hurt. Marie knew that it was only Shion's intervention that saved them all. She wanted to protect her brother instead of asking for his protection. Marie bursts out denying the thought of hate. In fact, she loves him very much and couldn't forgive herself for her own weakness. The best sibling pair there is. Marie expresses that she hates herself, but wants to become stronger so that she doesn't feel weak. Shion hugs his sister tight and apologizes for what he did. He apologizes for not supporting her in the time of need. Later, Shion tells Marie all about his progress in lightning magic. Shion states that his fire magic disappears almost immediately, and the same happens for lightning magic even at a faster rate. Marie jokes around that the trout fish won't help him so much now, but that's exactly what Shion needed. He remembers the exact reason he was obsessed with the trout. Shion adopts a different approach and changes the form of magic by altering its shape. He comes up with a cube, but Marie still doesn't know how it's going to help his progress with lightning magic. Shion tells her that nothing is impossible anymore, since she can whip up a magic sword if he wants to. The following day, Marie swoons over her little brother with adorable-looking eyes. Rose, on the other hand, is devastated to see them act this way. The three children conduct their training experiment again. Shion deploys the magic ball, concentrating it with bouts of magical energy. He releases a sharp beam strike that penetrates the target from a distance. An attack so powerful, it could easily bring down monsters. Shion dubs this ability Flash and declares that his testing was successful. Next up is the Thunder Ore. Shion prepares a pillar of magic energy and attacks the ore from a distance. Upon striking the Thunder Ore, waves of electricity are generated, sending Shion flying back. Shion is fine because he detached the energy from his hand, so as to not get electrocuted. Rose is surprised that the lightning came back at him. Shion explains that it's how electricity behaves, but he obviously can't explain principles far beyond their understanding. Shion sulks because his magic is ineffective unless he redirects the lightning back to the enemy. There is a missing link that Shion can't figure out for lightning magic. His progress was going butter smooth up until this point. Suddenly, the blacksmith Glass visits Shion and bows down in an apology. Gawain reveals that the blacksmith collected way too many thunder ores using the insulating ore. He's the Nikola Tesla of this universe, except Shion really doesn't care about fame. Glass apologizes for taking advantage of the boy's knowledge to mine the thunder ores. Shion doesn't really care about anything, even though the blacksmith took advantage of his discoveries. Shion asks about the amount of money he made. After the day they made the discovery, Glass proceeded to mine the thunder ores and ran a business. His business exploded, which is why he wanted to rent a warehouse. That is when the demand for ores plummeted. Glass was able to sell more than 100 thunder ores. Glass begs the boy's aid to help him sell the ores, since he's stuck. Shion isn't really business smart, so nothing comes to his mind. Shion tells him he'll inform the blacksmith if something comes up, because he also has a request for Glast. Shion shares his goal of conducting magical research. Glast asks about the boy's request. Shion inquisitively asks if Glast has a similar fighting ability like his father. Glast confirms that he's one of the most capable blacksmiths that can wield a weapon. Shion is glad, because he wants Glast to help him in case his plan fails. They arrive at the warehouse where the 100 thunder ores are stored. They churn up a bit of noise, attracting the people around. Glast wants to get rid of them in 3 days since the warehouse is no longer usable, and the others are occupied. Shion questions why they have only 3 days. Glast explains that he can't return them to the mines since that costs money too. The boy asks why he separated the stones from each other. Glast tells him that they react harshly when placed near each other. The danger of shock is the reason they keep them at a distance, requiring a giant warehouse. The boy asks if he has tried refining them. Although Glast has tried to forge something out of them, he is incapable of melting the ores, which has become a problem. They return to his shop, where Shion finds the ingots that were forged by the thunder ores. The boy questions when the lighting dissipated. Glast explained that while he was forging, he threw it in the fire where it melted, killing any activity of the lightning. Shion computes this thought into his head, because the word fire reminds him of the blue flame. Shion asks his father permission, and decides to try something. He requests Glast to forge another ingot, because he plans to use a special kind of fire for refining the ore. The boy shows off his magic flame and conduces a magic experiment. Glast is shocked that the boy is capable of shooting blue flames. While he's terrified and shocked, Shion casually tells him to start. Glast is told everything about magic regarding Shion's development of it. Gawain wants him to focus on the real deal. Glast gets busy with work and tells them that the forging process will take him an hour. Glast whips up the necessary preparation and produces an ingot using the blue flames that Shion produced. This time, the ingot has a red color instead of blue. After connecting the two, Shion and the others are surprised to witness the current being produced. Shion takes a piece of cloth and checks the ingot. Finally, the boy confirms that they can sell the ingots as they are, but it requires Glast to work extremely hard. Glast is ready to work sleepless nights in order to make this successful. Shion wants to call the product Thunder Steel, and tells Glast to prepare 2 different kinds of thunder. Although 3 days are not nearly enough, Glast thinks he will be capable of doing the job after creating templates. The partnership between the boy and the blacksmith grows, as even his family is willing to help him with the task. Marie expresses the desire to contribute in the time of need, especially when Glast is facing trouble. Gawain has informed the village folks they're busy, meaning they have plenty of time to work around with the blacksmith. All of them worked immensely to help Glast, who worked day and night to forge the ingots. The 3 days of hardship finally passed. They successfully completed the job, but they were left exhausted in the end. Shion explains that they made 2 different types of products. The first is an electric lamp, which is made from plates and insulators to produce light. The group celebrates after accomplishing such a struggle. While his family is openly praising Shion, the boy thinks that Marie will be jealous of him. However, she's as happy as ever, which makes Shion confess that he really doesn't understand girls. We know Shion. I bet every guy has had that thought once in his life. Instead, Marie feels happy that her family supports her through and through. Their parents are both happy, while Glast becomes whiny and thanks them for supporting him in the time of aid. As for Shion's request, Glast is ready to do anything for the boy. Marie inquires about the special request. Shion believes that if Glast is capable of fulfilling what he's asking, his magic will erupt into another change.